You woke up early.
I felt like taking a walk on the beach. The spring sea breeze relaxes me, and it makes me think. How long will it be before you go?
You know, Nordmar, maybe I was wrong about one thing.
About what?
That I should have learned to listen to my heart and my feelings better. I'm leaving now. But I'll be back and we'll continue our conversation.
I'll wait for you. This time I'll count on your return, brave paladin.
Wait.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Hey, Lores. What are you doing here?
I have some urgent news. You won't believe what I'm about to tell you.
Put me to the test.
Saturus and the other magicians of water teleported away from Jakandar, and now they're right here, just a few miles from Vanguard. The hunter gone, and the bandit leader Thoris are also with the mages.
I remember Gon. He guarded the pass to the Valley of Mines. He's also a member of the Ring of Water. But Thoris, what the fuck is he doing with the magicians of water?
I couldn't tell you this, because I haven't had time to speak to anyone except Saturus himself. He immediately sent me to find you, claiming he had terrible news to report.
But how the hell did you figure out that the water mages had teleported here to the continent?
I woke up very early this morning. The others and I were staying at the tavern in the harbor of Vanguard. I wanted to get some fresh air, so I went out onto the terrace outside the rooms. On the horizon to the south, around an ancient stone circle, I noticed a white and blue glow enveloping the stones for almost 5 minutes. Intrigued, I headed there, and after half an hour arrived there, and then I discovered that Saturus and the other mages had just teleported from Jakandar, and without wasting a moment, he immediately sent me to find you. Saturus wants to speak with you urgently.
I'll put on my armor and we'll go there right away.
Well, who do we have here? You see, young man, there are no horizons that destiny cannot reach. May Adonis bless you.
It's nice to see you again, Master Saturus. As a member of the Ring of Water, I am and remain at your service.
Never forget that the Ring of Water is a secret organization that maintains the balance between Enos and Beliar. This is the duty of the warriors and mages of Adonis, to preserve the balance of the world of Morgrad. Neither must ever prevail over the other. But unfortunately something went wrong.
Speak clearly, Grandmaster. Let me understand.
The balance of Adonis has been compromised. The powerful artifact you gave me in Jakandar to be guarded and kept away from the minions of Enos and Beliar has been stolen.
The Claw of Beliar?
Yes, son. Someone known to us has stolen the mighty sword of Beliar.
Who was the bastard who thwarted our efforts in Jakandar?
He whom they call the Necromancer, the most powerful magician of our age. I refer to Zardis himself.
Oh God, how could such a disaster be possible? Zardis, may he suffer endless bouts of diarrhea.
I'm sorry, son. Zardis caught us all off guard. He suddenly materialized in Jakandar, where we were camped. Once there, he waited for me to see him steal the Claw of Beliar. He wanted to be discovered, and he probably wanted this news to reach you.
But how the hell did you teleport from Jakandar to Myrtana?
The focus stones you recovered back in the Valley of Mines have rendered us a final service. Mexia is a great scholar of ancient magic, and during his research he discovered an intercontinental connection among some teleportation pedestals in our camp in Jakandar. Apparently, with the right amount of magical energy, they are capable of teleporting from bound and simply moving around corridors. We then discovered that one of those pedestals was historically used by the ancient magicians of Jakandar to travel towards Myrtana. The problem is that activating such a teleportation spell over such a distant range would have required enormous magical power, the same power that was used to erect the magic barrier in the Valley of Mines. So we decided to unleash this energy using the focus stones, permanently stripping them of their magical power in the process. But honestly, we had no idea we'd appear so close to Vanguard. Bless Adonis for granting us a shred of luck.
Were you chasing Zardis?
Yes, we have learned something about Zardis' plans.
Reveal to me what you know, Master Saturus.
Before disappearing with the Claw of Beliar, Zardis revealed to me that he would build a new tower here on the continent, and that from this dark place he would carry out his evil deeds. It is therefore certain that the Necromancer is here, on the continent of Midland. The problem is that we don't have the slightest idea where he might be. but at least we have some certainty about his intentions.
What if he lied to you?
His eyes and his words didn't lie, son. Zardis intends to have fun with our lives. I sense such immense magical power in him that even now my hands are shaking and a terrible shiver runs down my old spine. No, my son, he is here, in the heart of power and war. He wants to shape the destiny of the world and our era, and he will surely want to be found by you, by his beloved, favorite disciple. It made it clear to me that Zardis considers you as one of his toys in a game of absolute domination over all things.
I will never support his plans again. He used me to gain the immense power of the archdemons of Beliar.
Only Adonis knows what will happen, and so you must decide how to forge your destiny, young paladin. I, for my part, believe that the magicians of water must now choose whether to fight in the war or let the world shape itself.
Do you also intend to fight? But isn't it contrary to Adonis' teachings to meddle in the political wars of the mortals?
The balance of Adonis is compromised. Beliar's power has gained a massive advantage over the followers of Enos. The Kingdom of Myrtana is on the verge of collapse. The entire world risks collapse if Beliar's power is not somehow contained. The magicians of water have always preserved the balance between Enos and Beliar. It is therefore time for us to ally ourselves once again with the servants of Enos to restore the balance of the world and of magic.
We must find Zardis and recover the claw of Beliar.
What are your plans, Dragon Slayer?
Grand Master Character of the Circle of Fire has devised a plan to track down Zardis. Using an ancient teleportation spell, he intends to materialize directly to Zardis himself, or near his hiding place. But to do so, he needs a monolithic stone. And one of the remaining examples of these artifacts of Beliar is hidden in the Temple of Enos in Myrtana.
Is Myrtana no longer under Myrtanian control?
It was the last city to fall to the orcs. The king, an orc named Khan, established his headquarters there. King Robar entrusted me with leading the Myrtanian army to Gotha. He instead travels to Nordmar, seeking allies among the kings of those lands. And when he joins us on the front of Gotha, we will begin the counterattack against the orcs on the plains of Myrtana.
We magicians of water shall join your army. I will remain in vanguard. I'm too old for battle. My bones creak, and my back can barely support my weight. I believe Adonis will soon call me to his realm, but anyone from the Circle of Water who wishes to join your army is free to do so. We will help you in any way we can.
But what about Thoris? He led the bandits of Jacana with Raven. What the hell is he doing here?
Thoris has abandoned that path. He has shown interest in the cult of Adonis and has sought to serve us. He is now a member of the Ring of Water, and therefore, if you wish, he will follow you into war against the orcs as a comrade in arms. He and Gon were the only members of the Ring of Water present in Jakanda's camp with us mages, and when we teleported here, they both came with us. Maybe you should speak to Thoris.
And the other members of the Ring of Water? Did you leave them on Corinis?
Avalon and the others remain behind, but it's their decision whether to come here to Myrtana or remain in Corinis to spread and defend the cult of Adonis, or travel the world doing the same. Our followers are free to act as they see fit, unlike the paladins of Enos.
Very well then. It's time for me to head to the front with the king's army.
Recover what Grand Master Charybdis asked of you, and once you have the monolithic stone, I will aid you in your quest to find Zardis. The claw of Beliar must be returned to us. It is a very powerful divine weapon, and cannot remain in the hands of that madman Zardis. You know that very well.
Protect the capital, Master Saturus. You and those of the Circle of Water who remain in the city shall have this enormous responsibility.
We will, my son. Now go and triumph in battle against the hosts of Beliar. May Adonis protect you, and always give you the strength and courage to strike down your enemies.
Look who's back. Diego's rookie.
This time it seems you don't have a gate or door to guard.
That's very nice of you to say that. Do you want me to bash your skull in?
I'd say no, but I'd like to know what happened to you.
What story do you expect me to tell you? The bandits had tied me out with their constant troubles. Living in that remote corner of Joggernaut was becoming more and more hellish by the day. And I'm Thoris, not some fucking nanny for some poor desperate idiots.
You seemed pretty protective of those poor, desperate idiots back then.
I was, until those idiots started constantly drugging themselves with swamp weed and causing fights and disturbances in the camp. Food was also starting to run low, until that woman named Lucia contracted the swamp plague. She then spread the disease throughout the camp. That damned whore took more than half the men in the camp with her into the realm of Beliar.
Holy crap. I remember Lucia. I'm sorry for what happened to her.
Well, I certainly didn't. Anyway, I decided to leave the camp before the situation got too much out of hand. I don't know what happened to those bastards. I don't give a shit about them anymore.
Your brother's absolutely right about you. You really are an asshole.
Why, brother Gord, so he told you about our story, didn't he? Is he here in Myrtana too?
He did. And he's here in Myrtana. He traveled with me on a ship of the Myrtanian fleet, and now he fights alongside me.
Interesting. So now you're in charge. We've made tremendous progress, I see, since the days of the old camp.
And did you stay with your mind in the old camp, or did you move on?
We all moved on from the valiant minds. Those who failed to adapt to the new circumstances ended up like Gomez or Raven.
Saturus told me you now work for the Magicians of Water.
Saturus and his mages were the only ones who attempted to save our camp in Jarkana. They tried to cure as many sick people as possible when that Lucia spread the swamp plague through the camp, but the disease quickly became unstoppable. And so, not even the water mages could do much. The foolish bandits then chased them away, causing only further disaster. It was then that I decided to abandon those imbeciles and join the Arena Water.
So now you worship Adanos?
What do you mean? I've always believed in Adanos. Gordon and I come from the island of Torgon, in the southern archipelago, and in our homeland, the cult of Adanos is the predominant religion, and in any case, I don't care about divine matters much. I much prefer to rely on the strength of my sword.
Saturus told me that some of you, both mages and members of the Ring of Water, will join my army as it sets out for Gotha, to fight the orcs. What will you do?
I will join your army, if you want.
I see you still have the Myrtanian heavy soldier armor.
Courtesy of an idiot I killed at the castle of Old Camp when we rebelled against the King's Guards many years ago in the colony, after the creation of the damned magic barrier.
Report to the southern gate of Vanguard. That's where he's assembling my army for the march to Gotha.
Lee, and so also the great general has returned to the fold.
He had a clarification with the king, and now he's my second in command.
I see you've assembled quite a crazy group of the most bizarre individuals in the Kingdom of Myrtana. Even Gord is among your allies. It'll be fun to join you all in your follies.
So are you coming with us or not?
Fuck yes.
And so soon we shall depart towards the continent. But brother, are you really sure of what you want to do?
We've got no choice, Gowan.
But why would anyone care about invading Orgon or the southern archipelago in general?
Whoever emerges victorious from the continental war risks becoming a dangerous threat to the kingdom of Orgon. Everything we have worked so hard to reconquer could be lost again.
I heard that the Circle of Water supports you. What about the other allies? We will need to swell the ranks of the Satarifian army if we are to conquer the continent of Midland.
The barony of Stuok in the county of Dark Waters join our cause. The kingdoms of Archolos and Korshon will also join us. Unfortunately, the situation in Torgon is dire. Civil war rages there for control over the island. Meanwhile, other factions from the smaller islands from the southern and eastern archipelagos will remain neutral. So the biggest and most powerful factions from the islands will fight with us.
You know that Myrtana or Nordmar aren't currently the biggest problems either. But facing the mighty Hashishin army from Varad worries me quite a bit. And what about the orcs? Have you forgotten about those monsters?
I certainly don't expect to fight and win such a massive war so quickly. It will be a very tough fight, and it will be difficult to convince our allies to stay and fight on the continent for many years.
This power game you seek to engage in concerns me greatly, Ethorn. Our allies could be as dangerous as our enemies. If we were to truly win and conquer the continent of Midland, what guarantee do you have that those who choose to fight with Satarif today might not one day try to impose themselves on us?
That's why sooner or later we'll have to get rid of Agon's external allies as well.
This will be the greatest war our people will have to fight. Are you really ready to take on this responsibility, dear brother?
Yes, brother. I'm sure Adanos will be with us in this great endeavor.
And what about Corella? I've been training her for months. She's itching to prove her skills on the battlefield.
Where is my daughter now? She didn't welcome me when I arrived in Thorniara.
Corella trains with me every day on a beach, on the eastern coast near Thorniara. Sometimes she even stays there alone, to continue her sword and shield training on her own.
Corella is a young maiden, but she possesses the warrior spirit of our ancestors.
What about your wife Vivian, and your daughter Lisha?
My wife and my youngest daughter, on the other hand, are worried about the war I want to pursue.
Surely not everyone can be like Corella. Your eldest daughter will follow you into the jails of the realm of Beliar if necessary. She has the potential to become a great warrior in the future.
I'm going to talk to Corella. I want to see if my daughter has truly become a brave fighter.
Do it, Ethorn, and always make your decisions wisely. In any case, know that I will finish preparing the army shortly, and very soon we will be ready to set sail for the continent.
Very good, Gowan. After discussing matters with Kella, I will return to Satarif to take charge of our army. I will lead the troops here at the harbor of Thornyara to embark us all aboard our warships.
We shall be ready at your command, brother.
Father, so have you finally come to see my progress?
Progress? Do you really think you've become so skilled that you can take down even the infamous paladins of Myrtana?
I will kill anyone who stands against us, against the glory of Satarif and that of the Kingdom of Argon.
You are a beautiful young maiden, Kella, but you have always shown a penchant for violence and weapons. Why do you want to be a warrior so badly? War is no place for a woman.
Though tell that to the ancient warrior queens of Satarif. You named both your daughters after legendary female warriors who became queens of Satarif. What were you thinking when me and Lisha were born?
The names of our legendary queens of the past are beautiful. That doesn't mean you and your sister have to live the same violent lives those ancient rulers did.
500 years ago, Kella I saved our dynasty from collapse and extinction. She was the only daughter of King Kostamir IV. Kella avenged her father's murder at the hands of the Korshanian invaders. She took the reins of our army and won the war against Korshan. Her fury was so brutal that she pursued the Korshanians to their island, defeating them and laying waste to their kingdom.
So, Queen Kella's actions were your inspiration, but who would you seek revenge against? As you can see, unlike King Kostamir IV, I'm still of this world.
I want to support you, Father. We Argonians believe in your ideas and plans for our kingdom.
You are 23, my daughter. You should only think about marriage and producing an heir who can one day succeed both you and me. Gawain is a widower and childless. The pain of losing his wife is so great that he no longer desires to remarry. The duty of continuing our dynasty falls upon you, Kella, and also upon your sister Lisha.
I will marry when I find a man I like, Father. I know Lisha desires to marry Lord Herton, the younger brother of the Baron of Sturk. Arrange their marriage, and let them produce the heir you desire. But let me join your endeavors. Let me march alongside you towards glory.
Marching towards glory? What the hell kind of glory do you think there is on a battlefield, you naive girl? Just blood and shit.
Yet you lead our people towards that destiny, but your thoughts suggest otherwise.
Sometimes war is necessary, but to you, my daughter, I intend to speak only the truth. Waging war, killing men, and destroying entire families or entire kingdoms is not a glorious deed. If Kella I did what she did 500 years ago, it was because she was gripped by anger and grief, having witnessed firsthand the defeat of our kingdom, and the loss of so many of her loved ones.
We'd suffered the same thing at the hands of Myrtana. You saw it. You and Uncle Gawain were already young commanders in Grandfather Ethorn's army back when he was still king. You were defeated by the Myrtanian army led by King Robar II himself, along with his generals Lord Dominic, Lord Edgar, then Lord Regaldo.
My father, your grandfather, Ethorn V, could never have defeated that immense army from Myrtana. Our defeat was assured. We had to surrender at some point during the war, otherwise we would all have been massacred, and our house extinct. We chose the dishonor of defeat, so we could take revenge another day, and so it was.
But you yourself now recognize that our peace is precarious. New factions will soon emerge from the Continental War. Whether it's the Orcs, the Varantians, or even the Myrtanians again, sooner or later, someone will try to attack us again. I and most Argonians agree with you, Father.
That doesn't mean this is your war. Stay here in Argon protecting our people with the skills you've learned.
I'll rather embark on another ship of my own bound for the continent. I won't stay here guarding shepherds and fishermen.
Sometimes, I think there's more glory in truly defending the innocents. If you don't even protect your shepherds and fishermen, how do you expect to defend an entire kingdom one day?
I'm sure my mother and sister will do a great job ruling the Kingdom of Argon, while we conquer the continent of Midland.
All right then, I'll let you come with us. You'll witness firsthand how shitty war is. You'll have to continue your training, and I'll never let you fight on the front lines.
I will prove to you, Father, that I am not only worthy of leading the army from the front lines, but that I will also be capable of winning battles in your name, and for the glory of Argon and Adanos.
I will return to Satarif soon. Join my escort. From now on, in addition to your uncle Gawain, I will also be your master at arms. I will train you to fight like a true warrior princess of Satarif, provided you always fight to protect our people, and that your ultimate goal is always peace. These are the teachings of our god Adanos, preserving the peace and the balance of the world, something the fanatical followers of Enos and Beliar will never be able to do or understand.
I will make you proud of me, Father. I'm sure Adanos will be by our side.
Follow me to Satarif. You'll say goodbye to your mother and sister, and then you'll join me at the head of our army. The continent awaits us.
Really, this is pure madness. Joining you again to defend Vanguard. Tell us, dear Robar, what the fuck do we Nordmarians care about your shitty capital? You Myrtanians have proven yourselves weak. You have cities and fortresses built of stone. You have had numerous armies, yet against the axes of the orcs, only we sons of Nordmar have managed to resist. Even our longships have performed better than your warships.
The orcs have always been uninterested in your villages and the capital Firbolg. If they had wanted, they would have annihilated you. Proof of this is that they continue to roam Nordmar, crossing your lands as if they were their own. And I haven't seen the Hammer Clan fleet since my arrival in Dhikar. What happened to your warships?
Since most of our ships were destroyed in the Battle of the Eastern Archipelago, fighting alongside the Myrtanian fleet, the harbor of Dhikar has been left with very few defenses. The remainder of my fleet is engaged at sea against the orc galleys, and also against the raiders from Elgor.
Are the Jarls of Elgor waging war on you two?
They've been raiding our coasts for months. We even found them in the Nordmarian hinterland. But thanks to our cooperation, we kings of Nordmar managed to drive them out. And sooner or later, we'll also drive the orcs out, once and for all. Perhaps, like the heroic ancestors of our legends, we'll even pursue them to their homeland of Krushland to slaughter as many orcs as possible.
Spare your warriors from foolish expeditions into the continent of Krushland, a cold and hostile land for humans. Reconsider my offer of alliance.
And so accordingly to you, we should join your army to fight in Myrtana. What are you really offering us, Robar?
I told you, I offer to you kings my help to fully reconquer Nordmar and drive out the invaders, either from Krushland or Elgor. It makes no difference to me. I will help you fight your enemies. We can help each other.
Do you think your small, tired, and battered army can make any difference here? You are now a defeated king, and your house is close to being slaughtered. I wouldn't be surprised if even your Myrtanian vassals soon decide to betray you, fleeing before the numerous orcish hordes.
But I am the only true ally you can count on to maintain your crowns and your titles. I have always granted great political autonomy to Nordmar, precisely because my father, King Robar I, was one of you, and I have a profound respect for the Nordmarian people.
We appreciate your honorable words, Robar. Your father caused much misfortune here in Nordmar, but none of us can deny that he was truly a great warrior. and as such, he always earned respect of the Nordmarian people, first as an enemy, and later as an allied sovereign. It was an honor for our fathers to serve him as vassals. You, on the other hand, have not proven yourself worthy of his name. You have implemented foolish strategies and made questionable decisions in this great war.
What Yaltial says is sadly true. Your father is often the subject of tales told by our storytellers from the Fire Clan. You would never have made the foolish decisions you made regarding the war. You spent years plundering the mines of Magicor for the entire fucking continent. And you drained those of Corinas as well. All to no avail, with the disastrous creation and the mysterious destruction of the magic barrier from the Valley of Mines. All your efforts are now thwarted, and your plans ruined. Your kingdom will fall in a sea of blood and shit.
Even in Stalma there are no brave warriors left. I would have expected something different from the Fire Clan.
Be careful to your words, old king. You are absolutely in no position to insult us and our entire clans. We have no intention of leading more Nordmarians to fight alongside you Lowlanders and Daems.
If you continue to stand idly by while others fight your wars, sooner or later the orcs or someone else will get you slaughtered, and not even Enos himself can save you.
If Enos won't save us, he certainly won't save you, you old fool.
How dare you, you bastard! I am still your king. One day I will avenge myself for your betrayal. Yalka, I will take revenge on all of you, cowardly bastards.
Go try. Let's allow your father's sword meet the axe of the Fire Clan, and see whose side Enos is on.
By Enos' beard, it's time for us all to calm down.
I will not tolerate any further insults from you.
You won't get any from me, but old king, you must understand the state of mind of all of us. This war has been going on for many years. To many, there are entire generations who no longer remember what it means to live in peace. We are all tired of your follies, Robar.
I see that you, Jarl Grim of the Wolf Clan, are still a voice of rationality among the kings of Nordmar.
What do you think following you into a losing war can bring to Nordmar? We fought alongside your general Lord Hagen many years ago to defend our lands, and neither he nor you were capable. Then you began pursuing highly questionable military strategies. Why should we trust you again?
Because if I lose this war, sooner or later, the orcs will kill you all too. And then all of Nordmar will rue this day if we don't join together in this battle.
But we are perfectly capable of defending our lands. We have held off the Orcish army for many years. We have also defeated the Elgorians. But if we send our warriors south to fight alongside your army, Nordmar would be left defenseless. If we're going to help each other, we have to find another way.
We can discuss an advantageous agreement for you on the entire Nordmar.
And what would this advantageous arrangement be? I now foresee only your untimely demise towards the realm of Beliar by means of an Orcish axe.
I will grant you complete independence from Myrtana. My army will never again occupy Nordmar. We will divide the spoils of war equally in case of victory.
I have to admit, you're offering a very tempting deal, but I'm wondering about something.
I hear you, Jarl Tjalf.
It would be far more advantageous for us, the rulers of Nordmar, to wait until your army and the orcs destroy each other. Then all of Myrtana would be at our mercy.
If you were ever able to get rid of the orcs.
Patience will reward Nordmar far more than your paltry offering. Now get your ass back to your hot, shitty Myrtana. Soon your lands will be our spoils of war.
May Enos curse you for what you've decided today. And if I ever win this war, my army will never again spare any of you cursed, traitorous bastards.
May Beliar bless you, great king.
Wargash, you've been missing for a long time. What happened to you?
I needed to isolate myself to get in contact with Beliar. I was seeking a divine sign from our god, and he finally revealed to us the paths of destiny.
How do you interpret the omens? Will Beliar grant us victory?
I can't tell you that, but Beliar sent us a herald, a magician from the race of the Moras.
What the fuck are you talking about? Have you overdone it with the Swampweed again?
Great King, this mage has brought important news about the expedition sent to Corinis last year.
Tell me what you have discovered.
My king, I am saddened to learn that Hushpak is dead, dishonorably killed by one of the Moras.
This terrible news brings me great pain. Hushpak did so much for our people. He deserved a glorious death in battle. But what happened to our army in Corinis?
General Varek has appointed one of Hushpak's old disciples as the new great shaman, a certain shaman named Hushak. From what the Mora mage says, it seems that Hagen is gathering many Moras to organize a counterattack south of Corinis in the Valley of Mines.
Hagen will never defeat our army with the few Moras he has at his disposal, and even if he bolstered his ranks with the inhabitants of Corinis, it wouldn't be enough. Our numbers are immense compared to theirs.
It would be best for you to speak with the magician of the Moors. He claims to be an herald of Beliar himself, and in him I perceive an immense magical power that I have not perceived since many years.
Where can I find this magician of the Moors?
He awaits you in the woods on the central plateau of Edlin Forest.
It's not far from here.
Follow me, my king. I shall lead you to him.
Greetings, Khan, great king of the orcs.
What do you want from me and my warriors more?
From you, nothing at all.
Speak clearly then, before I lose my patience and let my axe do the talking.
I am seeking an ally to carry out the will of Beliar. What do you want instead, King Khan?
Seeing the enemies of the orcs vanquished, the dream of becoming the masters of a powerful kingdom that will bring prosperity to our people.
An understandable desire in the eyes of Beliar.
My great shaman, the venerable Orgash, claims that you are a herald, sent by Beliar himself.
My name is Zardis. I was once the most powerful fire mage in the Kingdom of Myrtana. I was Archmage of Vanguard, and advisor to King Robar II, until the ways of magic and knowledge led me to abandon the path of Enos, then embrace the one of Beliar.
You are certainly not the first of the Moors to do such a thing. Many peoples worship Beliar, and many magicians and warriors from the race of the Moors have chosen to dedicate their lives to the cult of our god.
That is correct, but Beliar has something else in store for me, a higher purpose.
I'm listening to you, mage.
I am the one who managed to preserve the last sacred power of Beliar, still present in the world of our era, a power that once belonged to the Herald the orcs called Kushak, and that later belonged to the Dragon Herald of Edorath. I am the one who, through my magical abilities, managed to safeguard that divine power, preventing it from being forever banished from the heroes of Enos. I am the bearer of Beliar's wrath, the avenger who will strike down the followers of Enos, once and for all, and who will bring the peoples of Beliar to glory.
And so your director has fallen. Who is the warrior so mighty that he struck down the heralds of Beliar?
Like me, he must fulfill the will of his god. He forges his destiny as a hero of Enos. He is our greatest enemy.
Where is this great warrior of Enos now?
He is here on the continent. Fate will soon place him in command of the armies of Enos. The time is close when we shall face each other in the great war of our time.
If you truly possess the power of a herald of Beliar, we shall fight with you more. But how can we trust your words?
Do you not trust the paths traced by Beliar himself?
Beliar is our guide, now and forever. But you, Mora, are a mere mortal in our eyes. How could we believe that you are a hero sent by Beliar himself to support our cause?
Lead your warriors into battle against the army of Myrtana, and when the right time comes, you will understand why Beliar chose me to carry out his will.
What is the name of the legendary warrior of Enos you mentioned?
His name is a long-unsolved mystery, but what I once thought impossible has now come true. At first, I wasn't entirely sure of his identity, but after what he was able to accomplish and some evidence I discovered confirmed my suspicions.
What suspicions? Tell me who he is.
His blood carries a great burden. Knowing the name of our great enemy, the Herald of Enos and Slayer of Dragons, will not change what you, Great Orc King, must accomplish. For now, you will hear nothing more from me. Prove to me that you are worthy of my trust and that of Beliar himself. Lead your armies to the final conquest of Myrtana. Beliar blesses this great endeavor.
We will do as Beliar commands, and we will be worthy of your trust, Great Herald.
I can't believe my eyes. I am really happy to see you again, Marvin, old friend.
Riordian, I heard in town that a group of water mages had arrived from Korinis. You also survived the Valley of Mines.
I've had a lot of misadventures around the island. The colony was just one of them.
I'm sorry I didn't listen to you in the Valley of Mines. I trusted the promises of that slimy bastard Gomez, causing only disaster.
I warned you that Gomez was lying to you about Ivy to gain your support. You were considered a great warrior in the entire colony, and an important asset to the old camp. You should have joined our mercenaries at the new camp.
I found out late, and even now, I'm paying the price. I met Ivy again here on the continent, but she, furious of what happened with her sister Beliar, rejected me, even admitting she still harbored feelings for me.
Little wonder, old friend. When we last met in the Valley of Mines, I told you you'd made a damn mess with the young maiden. Yet, Marvin, you never know where life will lead you. The ways of Ardanos are infinite and unpredictable. You must move forward and continue to forge your own destiny.
Now I have a new purpose. I have returned to the faction. I joined when we were in Archolos. I will fight with the Myrtanian army in the war.
I'm really curious to know how you ended up from commanding a bandit gang in the old camp to wearing the armor of the paladins of Myrtana.
Lord Hagen's paladin, the one who slew the dragons that attacked the Valley of Mines, helped me find Ivy in the coastal region of Timoris, south from Vanguard. He did this in exchange for a book he was looking for the quest. He provided me with equipment in case we had to fight. I just didn't think he'd make me hand over the armor of the paladins, and then he even told me to keep it, suggesting that I join his berserk group.
I know who you're talking about. Saturus, our Grand Master, spoke with him a couple of hours ago south from Vanguard, at the place we teleported to. He was the one you banished from the old camp, and who later joined Lee's mercenaries. He is also a member of the Ring of Water, as were you, Marvin. He also caused us some troubles when we were trapped in the magic barrier of the Valley of Mines. He then later redeemed himself by helping us with some really important matters in northern Korinis, in a remote region of the island called Jakandar.
That guy gets into every possible mess and always manages to get out alive. What can I say? Is this also all of Ardanos? Maybe he'll bring us luck in the battle against the Orcish army on the plains of Montera.
I and the other water mages will come with you. We shall join the Inquisitors of Myrtana.
Are you joining the battle mages of the Myrtanian army? Really? I thought only fire mages were interested in joining the royal army.
The magicians of water rarely meddle in the politics of the mortals. The path of Ardanos has always been about the maintenance of the world balance, amid the eternal war between Enos and Beliar. But the circle of water, on rare occasions when this balance has been lost too much to the advantage of Enos or Beliar, has sided in conflicts to restore the balance of the world of Morbrad. Our Grand Master believes that at this moment the great dark forces of Beliar threaten the balance of Ardanos, and so Saturus has given us full freedom to decide whether or not to intervene. And you know it well, old friend. Don't you remember the Battle of Archolos?
How could I ever forget that disaster? So there are the water mages who fight in other armies.
It's possible. Most battle mages in the various factions of the kingdom belong to the Circle of Fire. But there are cases, especially in the southern islands or the eastern archipelago, where most battle mages from the most powerful local factions belong to the Circle of Water. All Varant is an exception. A good portion of the battle mages in the Great Desert armies belong to the Circle of Darkness.
I hope your intervention saves our damned asses like it did in the Battle of Archolos.
Marvin, my old friend, you'll see that everything will be fine in the end. Our Donos will not abandon us. And besides, you are a great warrior, and you will prove it among the ranks of the paladins.
By Adonos, I've tried so hard to escape the war, ever since my brother and I boarded that damned ship belonging to the filthy pirate Beckett in Londram.
Have faith in the ways of Adonos. Let us fight together once more, old friend, and discover where our fate will lead us.
I'm really happy you decided to join us, Riordian.
And I am truly happy that Adonos has instilled in you some rationality, what you lost in the Valley of Mines, and that you have now found a worthy path to follow. May Adonos always be with you, Marvin, and give courage to your heart and strength to your sword in the battle against the enemies you will have to face in your life. Maybe now you are truly where you belong.
Damn it then, let's get ready to march.
How is the rear guard doing?
They're arranging the new formations for the march at the northern gate. Cannons and ballista are already present at the front of Gotha, so I prefer to leave them here in Vanguard. In case of disaster, it's best to have the capital well protected.
What about catapults and trebuchets?
We don't have many of those. I've had some prepared to take with us to Gotha. They should also have some of those at the front. I prefer not to deprive the city of its siege engines too much.
The Inquisitors will have to compensate for these shortcomings.
Well, that's their primary duty. Battle mages are always expected to fill in for artillery shortages.
What about the others?
All our comrades in arms are ready to march. All you have to do is give the orders, and we'll be off in less than an hour.
You seem particularly calm. I don't know whether to find that reassuring or alarming.
We have little hope of victory. These situations usually make me feel rather resigned. I'm much more nervous about the thought of having to confront those who betrayed me.
Why don't you come up with some brilliant plan like you did in Varant?
I see you've learned quite a bit about me. Well, I could try to develop a strategy, but first I need to figure out with whom we'll be fighting. I know most of King Robar's current generals, but I need to understand what's going on in their minds now, before I can even figure out what's more convenient.
Very well then, General Lee. Give the marching orders. We're off to Gotha. And you, Kirian, are you done getting drunk and whoring around in the entire Vanguard?
I'll miss the girls from the brothels of the capital, but rest assured, the closer the day of battle gets, the more drunk I'll get.
Great. I thought I could count on you more, you drunken fool. You are among the worst paladins ever.
Don't worry, my friend. Good old Girian will sort a lots of orcs.
May Enos really protect us all.
I see you're enjoying arguing with your bizarre allies.
We're leaving with the army in an hour. Are you ready, Marvin?
I'm ready, General. But what about you?
Sometimes I think it could all end instantly. Maybe an arrow will hit me in the throat before I even reach the enemy line in battle.
It's part of the game, my friend. Life is something that shatters in the blink of an eye. I had the opportunity to discover this in a brutal way. During my days on the islands of Londram and Archolos, the time I lost my mother to illness, and then, a few months later, my brother too.
And your father?
I never knew him. My mother, Lysandra, never spoke of him. My mother mentioned him only once, saying he was a paladin named Rhaegor. She told my brother and me that he died in the Great War of Argan, in the southern archipelago.
Better than knowing absolutely nothing at all. I'm sorry for your losses.
Adonos was not kind to us. Perhaps the fact that our lives might soon end could ultimately prove to be a liberation for ourselves.
Yet if I should fall, who will face Zardis? The innocents of this world do not deserve a cruel fate like ours.
Ah, but Ulimorgrad is truly innocent. We are all guilty of something. This doesn't mean evil rules the world. There is always good to defend in this life. It's up to us to decide how to act. Know, my friend, that if you fall, I will carry on your mission, as I'm sure your comrades in arms with whom you traveled to Myrtana aboard the Esmeralda would too.
Thank you, Marvin, for your kind words. They will warm my heart in the most tragic hour. May Enos be with us all.
Let us march, my friend, towards war and glory.
For Myrtana and for the king, to battle and to victory.
However, we must remain vigilant. The forest of Montgomery is very dangerous at night. Establish double-guard shifts for the entire platoon. The Nordmarian border of the Ash Mountains is teeming with bandits and orcs.
Yes, Your Majesty. However, I would have sincerely preferred to continue towards Vanguard. As you said, these woods are dangerous, especially at night.
Haven't you seen the men, General? The journey to Nordmar has exhausted them, and we've been marching for days without much rest. We're a day's journey from Vanguard. I prefer that we rest, and that we arrive in the capital tomorrow in excellent health.
Your will, my obedience, my king.
Good night, comrade. You to rest well for once.
For years my sleep has been tormented. I rather stand guard all night than face the nightmares of the darkness. If Eno's wishes, perhaps I'll rest when the war ends.
I'm sorry for everything, old friend. Fate has been cruel to our kingdom. Perhaps one day all this shall end, and Enos will finally grant us some peace. And for you, the sleep you long for.
Good night, Robar, old friend.
Greetings, Robar.
Zardis, you cursed traitor. My paladins have reported your misdeeds to me. By joining Beliar's ranks, you have betrayed the circle fire and the Kingdom of Myrtana, and for that, I will kill you myself. You bastard.
I see you haven't changed much. You're still the same old warrior without a shred of intellect.
And you are a man without honor. Abandoning the magicians of fire to seize a dark power beyond human comprehension is a choice you will pay for with your life sooner or later. Beliar will use you to achieve his goals, and then dispose of you. You are nothing more than a plaything of the God of Darkness.
You're just a poor bigot, Robar. You draw one of Enos' toys. The gods show us a way to achieve our goals, but we remain pawns in their eternal war.
And what would you want now that you're effectively an archdemon of Beliar? Certainly not our god.
On the contrary, I have returned to the continent to free it, and this will only be the beginning. The entire world of Morgrad will rise from its ashes.
Rise from the ashes? You want to destroy the entire world. You're a madman.
Then I will be his prophet, a sacred leader blessed by the power of my god, tasked with bringing mortals to the submission and worship of Beliar. I am his herald, the future ruler of the entire world of Morgrad.
You will lose, you old fool. Sooner or later, Enos will send his heroes, and you and your hosts will fall.
Speaking of heroes, I have some interesting news for you. I wasn't sure of what I was about to reveal, but after careful investigation, I've discovered something truly fascinating, and I'm curious to see how you react.
Reveal what you know, demon of Beliar.
I revisit the building where that Arcanian woman you fell head over heels for lived. The one who gave birth to your bastard son. What was her name? Maybe Arian or something like that.
Her name was Arian. My son Robar died with her in the fire that destroyed the residence in the upper quarters of Korinis, where they were staying on my orders. There was a building intended for the rulers of Myrtana when we visited the island of Korinis. Subsequent to its reconstruction after the tragic fire that deprived me of my only male heir, I reassigned it to one of my magistrates. I'll never set foot in the place again. Korinis represents nothing but enormous misfortunes to me.
But for certain reasons I decided to set foot there instead, discovering in particular a rather interesting letter. Here you go, read it. Feast your eyes if your eyesight is still good, old king.
The letter is dated the day of the fire. It's clearly a letter written by Arian. It's incredible that the parchment survived the fire. It seems to be perhaps one of her last letters. But what does all this mean?
It means that your son, Robar III, Prince of Myrtana, is alive. The child was not with his mother when the mysterious fire occurred. That day he had gone out to play with other children of his age outside the walls of Khorinis round the woods on the outskirts of the city. He did not die in the fire because for some reason, he completely lost his memory and most likely never returned to the upper quarters of Khorinis.
You were supposed to watch over my son, and you failed. And now you're telling me this. How can you be so sure of your claims?
Because I met your son again, in the Valley of Mines. He helped me destroy the cursed magic barrier. After that heroic deed, I began to suspect that the young man benefited from the favor of Enos. He was able to wield and awaken the powers of the sword of Urizel, and with the mighty armor of the ancient first king of Myrtana, I had managed to find the equipment of King Urizel inside a temple of Beliar in the Valley of Mines. It is known that Urizel died fighting the orcs in Khorinis in a war about which little is known. I never would have thought that the wild arts of the colony would have preserved King Urizel's battle gear. For years I have learned from my studies that only a few individuals blessed by the gods we believe in can wield our divine weapons and armor. But there is one artifact of Enos in particular that no one has ever managed to wield without taking any damage, except members of House Norsword, your dynasty. And I am referring to the Eye of Enos.
Before Ariam and Robar left for Khorinis, I placed one of my father's two rings on my son's finger. It was the Eye of Enos. It is a very ancient artifact of Enos, somehow tied to my family's blood. If placed on the finger of someone not of our blood, it will burn the poor fool who wore it alive. Frankly, I've always thought it was quite dangerous, and after the fire that killed both Ariam and Robar, I ordered it placed in safekeeping in the monastery of Khorinis, along with other rather dangerous artifacts of Enos.
Don't you find it rather bizarre that the paladin who slew the dragons of Khorinis is able to wear it on his finger without physical consequences?
The Eye of Enos is a very ancient artifact that predates my family. Perhaps it was previously linked to other dynasties equally worthy of the blessing of Enos. My father never left any memoirs mentioning how he bound his blood and that of his descendants to the artifact.
That's correct. But I doubt there are any worthy ones left in the entire world after Robar the First capable of wearing that divine ring, except for members of your house for the reasons just mentioned.
That paladin you speak of claims he doesn't remember his name and has no memories of his past.
Because of a rock that hit him on the head as a child. Whoa. He was at the entrance of a cave in one of the woods in the outskirts of Khorinis.
And so, I assume that having him obtain the Eye of Enos at the behest of my paladins was your plan from the very beginning.
After slaying an archdemon of Beliar in the Valley of Mines, the Dark Part transferred to a new form, a skeletal dragon within the temple of Beliar on the remote island of Idorath. Other demonic dragons also dwelt there, and under Beliar's influence, they attacked the Valley of Mines. They sensed that a mighty hero of Enos was rising and forging his own destiny. Beliar's armies would not stand by idly. What had happened in the Valley of Mines back then must have had divine overtones. And so, I took advantage of the situation to dispel some doubts that had already been brewing in my mind. I directed him to the path of the paladin and arranged for the Eye of Enos to be brought to your son's finger, thus definitively confirming my suppositions about his mysterious identity. And as proof of this, he was not only able to exterminate the dragons that had invaded the Valley of Mines, but he was also able to destroy the Temple of Idorath. All this while wearing the Eye of Enos, gaining its divine powers. In this era, only a direct descendant of King Robar the First could have accomplished such endeavors. I truly fear that he is your son, the young Prince Robar. He now fights among your paladins, and as I suspect, fate will soon place him in command of the armies of Enos, and it will be he and I in a battle that will decide the fate of the entire Kingdom of Myrtana.
I agree with you on this. A great and powerful hero of Enos is about to rise in our darkest hour, but we still don't know for sure who this man is. I never stopped believing in that. I never stopped believing that Enos would never abandon us. It fills my heart with joy to know my son survived. I find it incredible that we met in Vanguard only a few days ago without knowing who we were to each other. Yet what confuses my mind is why you revealed this crucial information to me. What do you gain from all this, Zardis?
I enjoy family dramas, and I enjoy tormenting you, old king. Your son can still be an important asset in furthering my plans for this continent and then for the entire world. I will find a way to secure his loyalty once again, then when he has served his purpose, I will dispose of him like scrap metal. I like to think that you won't be able to do anything to save him. In fact, maybe one day he could even be the one to kill you on my orders. If he survives long enough, it delights me to know that you shall suffer in your downfall.
If he is truly my son, he will never serve you. If he is a true paladin, sooner or later, he will kill you. You will lose, old magician. You will fall, Zardis, at the hands of the heroes who will fight in the name of Enos to defend our homeland, for Myrtana.
Everyone can be the hero of their own story. It all depends on perspective, you old fool. Where fate leads us, that is for us to decide with our actions. And you, Robar, have brought untold suffering and misfortune to the people of the entire Kingdom of Myrtana. It's time for the world to rid itself of you and make way for the future.
If you want to kill me, come forward, Zardis. I'm a paladin. I won't go down without a fight.
Poor fool, Robar.